What up, is Marcus Dynasty Football Dads? We have a DeAndre Swift free-signed jersey. All you gotta do is be a subscriber for a chance to win. Also, if you want to be a Patreon supporter, we're going to be adding some things to that as well. If you want me to rate your team, give you in-depth analysis on one or more of your teams, I can do that as well. I'm always out here trying to give a new perspective onto a team. Sometimes you look at a roster and you just kind of get bored of like, what do I do next? Sometimes you need a fresh perspective, or you get stuck on some of these players that you constantly think or overthinking and say, hey, I've had this player for 3 years. I'm hoping out for more and more and more. And it's like, well, maybe you should be trading that player for the value that you're being offered. Anyways, Patreon. Should be in the comment box below. We're going to be doing updated on the rookie rankings here and just what I've been seeing in some of these rookie drafts that have not been necessarily frustrating, but some things that I've been seeing in some of the rookie drafts that I've witnessed, and then versus what I have in some of my rankings here. The first thing right off the bat, Breece Hall's been going 101. He deserves to go 101. That's it. That's it, at least on Breece Hall. The 102, though, Drake London has been a very popular name at 102. I do worry about his separation, his size, especially for the quarterback that he's going to be positioned with in 2022, Marcus Mariota. And we love that short-term kind of, increase in value. And I feel like Marcus Mariota is not going to be able to give that to Drake London, which is going to be a problem for Drake London. And I think Drake London shouldn't be the 102 here. Personally, I have him behind Treylon Burks, Garrett Wilson, and Kenneth Walker. So I have him lower. And I can even see in situations where a team it'd be really desperate at quarterback to pick Kenny Pickett over Drake London. But I personally think that Drake London shouldn't be the 102. I've had a lot of people that I've seen and witnessed that have pretty good analysis into wide receivers say that he should be the first wide receiver taken off the board. Atlanta is a position that is, like, if you have him and let's say Matt Ryan was there instead of Marcus Mariota, that positional change, that change actually makes a big difference because, yes, Garrett Wilson's going to be with Zach Wilson and he's going to be with Elijah Moore. And then you have Treylon Burks, who is arguably going to be with Ryan Tannehill or Malik Willis. Malik Willis would be probably a downgrade for Treylon Burks, but you're going to have him in a big, huge target share right off the bat. And so that's why Drake London's just fifth, in my opinion. He's in that tier with Treylon Burks and Garrett Wilson. I just like those receivers better than I like Drake London. I've seen Kenneth Walker fall. I think there's some concerns that Rashad Penny is going to be the 2022 fantasy overall leader when it comes to the end of 2022 for the Seattle Seahawks, if I made that right. I might have said 2022 way too many times. But anyways, what I'm saying is they think that Rashad Penny is going to be the short-term solution here. And even if Kenneth Walker takes a slow increase into the 2022 season, think the 2020 running back class with J.K. Dobbins, DeAndre Swift, Jonathan Taylor, the list goes on and on, Cam Akers. Those players took time. The first 8 games that they had in the NFL season, it wasn't great. It was actually pretty bad. And then you started getting J.K. Dobbins, if I can talk, going to Mark Ingram, you had DeAndre Swift taking the lead role there, and you just had these running backs starting to take the lead role, and I can see Rashad Penny being a successful running back for the first half of the season, but then you're going to start to see Kenneth Walker. So if you do draft him, don't sell on him. That is definitely something that I have seen is where Kenneth Walker has fallen because of it, and I think that Kenneth Walker is going to be a really good player at the end of 2022. You just got to be a little bit patient, and that's what you have to do with some of these running backs. Not everyone's going to come flying out the gates, even like Najee Harris. You're going to have more of like the Javonte Williams ease into roles. You have Travis Etienne, who didn't even play last year, and he still has a lot of value. It's one of these things that it takes sometimes where a running back, Rashad Penny's still a talented running back, former first-round pick. I think that Rashad Penny is a talented running back, but how many games is he going to play? He has not even survived the full season yet. We'll see how long that Rashad Penny survives. And Chris Carson, I think my personal opinion is I think Chris Carson's going to be cut from the Seattle Seahawks. I just think that with his injury and stuff like that, I think you're going to see him end up being cut into camp time when the rosters start to thin out. And you're going to be like, whoa, Chris Carson? And Chris Carson will go to Miami where all the other running backs seem to go, along with Sony Michel and Raheem Mostert and Chase Edmonds and whoever else they want. And Myles Gaskin. I forgot about Myles Gaskin. So then we start getting into this end of the first. And for Superflex, of course, you have the Kenny Pickett. Malik Willis has been mostly into the second rounds here. What I have been seeing, though, is I've been always seeing the sprinkle of, like, where is James Cook going? James Cook, I have seen go 6, and I have seen him go, like, 12. But James Cook is kind of the biggest wild card, I would say. Personally, I cannot take James Cook over Christian Watson, over a Sky Moore. I just can't do it because I see that initial opportunity with Kansas City, Green Bay, perfect landing spots for wide receivers that need targets, one of the biggest areas where targets are missing, and you have two of the best quarterbacks in the NFL today, and even maybe tomorrow and the next year, at least for Kansas City, the following potentially 10 years, with no Tyreek Hill. Like, I want Sky Moore or Christian Watson over James Cook. Right now, I even have James Cook. It's tough because it's like James Cook, Jahan Dotson. James Cook, Jahan Dotson. I think James Cook is going to play a role. He's not going to play a role like Kenneth Walker or Breece Hall. He's going to play a role more into the J.D. McKissic role, into the James White role. And you say, well, Buffalo doesn't use a running back like that. Buffalo hasn't had a running back of James Cook's passing ability. You could easily say you could see James Cook in the role of, like, he might even play slot. He might play a little bit of Cole Beasley role. He might play a lot of bit on third down. I mean, you might be spread a little bit differently into that backfield. They drafted him high for a reason, and draft capital is one of the biggest things when it comes to running backs. A round 2 draft capital on a running back, I mean, that is essential. That is gold. Like, you need to draft a running back. I'm drafting him over any of the other running backs, despite any other opportunities that Dameon Pierce or Tyler Algier or Rashad White. Like, I'm drafting him easily over those other running backs. He's the running back 3, and he's by an island by himself. And so I see these running back needy teams draft him at 6. Personally, if I'm in that 6-7 category, I'm just trying to move back. And if I end up missing James Cook, I'm missing James Cook, and I'm just kind of going up to the 2023 season, or I'm trying to trade my pick for a running back into 2022. I've seen Aaron Jones go for a first-round pick. People are worried about the fall-off cliff of Aaron Jones. There are running backs you can get. Melvin Gordon for a late second, early third. I've seen him go a couple times that way. It's just like they're running backs that you can kind of zig when other people are zagging. So that's just an idea of what to do if you, let's say, trade back and James Cook gets sniped in front of you. You always have to have a plan B if you are trading a pick back, and just know that, hey, if I go from 6 to 9, pick 8 might be James Cook, or that team that you're just trading up might want James Cook as well. And so you have to make an option. Like, oh, do I want to trade back further? Do I want to trade a different pick to try to get a running back? James Conner is another player that I've seen get traded for a second-round pick, a high second-round pick. And so it's like, well, I mean, James Cook for a contending team, James Conner might be a better positional player, a better player in the next 12 to 18 months, even though he's always injury-prone, versus James Cook. And then we get into these other wide receivers. One of the wide receivers that keeps falling the most, I feel like, is Jahan Dotson. And I love Jahan Dotson. I feel like he is one of the wide receivers that I am early targeting into that second round here. And I don't know why he just keeps falling. I understand Washington's not a great situation. You have, of course, Carson Wentz kind of stuck into that mode there. Other players that I've kind of seen really fluctuate, George Pickens has been really high, really low. I even saw somebody say, would you rather have Chase Claypool or George Pickens? And at this point, I'm taking the talent of Chase Claypool. I think that Chase Claypool, his tape was tough, but when he went to the NFL, you saw extreme talent, being over 6'4", and running a blazing speed. I'd take Chase Claypool over George Pickens, but I saw a lot of George Pickens fans there. Other players that have been way up and way down, David Bell, Alec Pierce. What am I thinking? Why did I say Derek? I don't know. Alec Pierce, Wan'Dale Robinson. These are players, again, that are very, very fluctuate into that second round. But what really the drop-off is into that early second round. I am trading these second-round picks, if I can, to players that are already going to be significant contributors to my team, or I'm just trading them for 2023 picks. Heck, I would trade 201 for any 2023 second pick at this point. Just be like, hey, give me a 2023 second. And if there's a couple teams bidding for it, then I want a 2023 second and third, and just say, hey, you're getting the best pick in the, unless a Jahan Dotson falls. But, I mean, really, if you're 203, 204, and you're sitting there and you're getting Alec Pierce or Dameon or Trey McBride or Rashad White, like I'm just trying to get into that 2023 class at this point. So I just want to give you an update. Hope everyone had a good weekend here, and keep drafting. My Dynasty Dad draft will be in a couple weeks here. I got to send some more details of that. So, all right, peace out. Take care.